Hello. Hello, and welcome to the Ringer NBA After Party. My name is Chris Ryan. I am joined by the new Los Angelino, Kevin O'Connor and Justin Verrier, and we're here to talk about NBA All-Star selections. They're currently going through them on TNT, but the names have been released. We're going to talk a little bit about snubs, and we're also going to do some mock drafting for Steph Curry and LeBron James. We've got LeBron and Steph here. It's a big, big get for the Ringer, so I'm glad we were able to go live to Twitter on this. Let's just go quickly over the starters before we get to the reserves. We got Giannis, Durant, Harden, Kyrie, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, DeMar DeRozan, and DeMarcus Cousins, along, of course, with LeBron and Steph. So then we also have the reserves that have just been announced over the course of the last half hour. So Damian Lillard, much to his pleasure. Kyle Lowry, Kristaps Porzingis, Klay Thompson, Karl Anthony Towns, Draymond Green, Bradley Beal, Kevin Love, Russell Westbrook, Jimmy Butler, Victor Oladipo, Al Horford, and John Wall just under the wire. Guys, let's talk a little bit about snubs first.
Love
Kevin,
snubs.
Who's the first name that jumps out that is not here?
Paul George.
Yes.
Probably one of the best defensive players in the league this season. He's done the job offensively for Oklahoma City, and granted they haven't met expectations as a team. Paul George, to me, he kind of epitomizes my disappointment with the fact that, despite the fact that we're having a draft in the league this year,
right,
we're still going with conferences when choosing the 12 best guys, when, in my opinion, George is one of the 24 best guys who should be in the game.
Sure. Justin, anybody, what do you think of the George thing, first of all?
Yeah, George is the obvious one, I think, just because it seems like he's been better individually, but someone like Klay Thompson, it seems like he's riding off a team success.
Right.
Feels like we're still, especially with the coaches, they want to look at this more collectively than guys who have been individually good. I was surprised that Victor Oladipo wasn't a starter, and so it's things like that, I think.
Well, guys get
down.
seduced by good teams. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, Zach and Bill were talking about this last week. They obviously use the quality of the team as like a huge thing in favor of an individual player. So we've got Paul George as a snub. You guys mentioned Klay Thompson might be there almost on reputation alone. What do you think is a big snub?
Yeah, well, based on what I was just saying before, I think I also don't really care as much about guys who played an entire season up to this point. If Steph Curry can make it with 15 games missed, why can't Chris Paul make it with 17 games missed? You look at the statistics. I think he's 23-5 when he's playing. When Clint Capella, James Harden, and Chris Paul all play together, 18-0, and that's with 2 wins against the Warriors, 2 big wins.
Yeah. Hashtag Ringer NBA. If you want to get involved in the discussion, you can ask us questions or send us your takes. I don't know if we get any more snubs. I mean, obviously Lou Williams was a popular, weird, like cult figure to come up in the last couple of weeks, part of this kind of quasi Clippers revival to get them to being mediocre, I guess. But do you think Lou Williams should feel aggrieved? He tweeted LOL. I mean,
yeah, I mean, you got to play defense. I mean, if you're going to get chosen by the coaches, I mean, between like Andre Drummond and Kevin Love, that was a toss up in my eyes. Maybe it was for the coaches too. Someone like Ben Simmons, he's really hard to plug in there because he was a guard. Despite the fact that maybe positions, we should get rid of those too for All-Star. But I think Ben Simmons, despite not having a jump shot, he's been great on defense. Excellent passer. He's really elevated that team. I think he's another guy, if you're looking at the Eastern Conference, he might have been a stub there.
I think Ben Simmons has had I love John Wall, but Ben Simmons, I think, has had a better season than John Wall so far.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I think we're starting to see the disparity between Ben's start and his second half of his first half of the season kind of show here. I mean, with Lou, I think I would love to see him in there. It'd be a great story. I think he's in his 13th season or something like that. A lot of his success is coming against reserves for the most part. He just recently got into the starting lineup, so there's that kind of trade-off there.
One of the guys that we've been talking about a lot over the last week, because his name has been in trade rumors, is Kemba Walker, who didn't make it.
Yeah.
What do you think is that about? Is that just Charlotte's small market, not enough people showing him respect?
I mean,
his numbers are a little down from last year.
Yeah, I mean, he's the type of guy where it's like, I would rather be focused on like Devin Booker or Lou Williams or Donovan Mitchell for that matter over Kemba Walker as like one of the 24. But because it's the East, like Kemba is in that conversation,
It sizes him, I think is what it is.
It sizes him. It's the anti-Connecticut bias.
Yeah, he's just too small, so they don't appreciate how great he is.
We have a couple questions coming in via Twitter, via Facebook, wherever. You can use hashtag RingerNBA to reach out to us. Sacramento wants to know, are you surprised that both Beal and Wall got in?
Yes and no. I mean, John Wall's had a down year, but I mean, he's still been effective overall. I mean, you can't knock the pick at all. He's a great point guard.
This is really a bigger conversation topic now than it was maybe a day or two ago, because John Wall and JJ Barea got into it last night.
Yeah.
And JJ Barea was like, the guys on his own team don't even like him. And since then, Twitter has been a lot of speculation about what's wrong with the Wizards, how can they get blown out by the Mavericks, and just sort of some of the the inter-team problems they may be having. So the John Wall Bradley Beal thing was kind of interesting, because it's like if one had made it and not the other, and we knew Beal had made it in. Do you think they both deserve to be All-Stars?
I guess so. I mean, maybe Ben would have been a better one than Wall. Maybe Andre Drummond, just someone from the Pistons.
Another Husky.
It would definitely. Yeah, I didn't realize that. I think it really would have been great if Wall didn't make it and Beal did, simply because of what he was saying earlier in the season when they didn't get any of the guys that changed team this offseason. Wall pretty much came out and was like, well, Brad is really all I have. Let's do this together.
Sure.
And then Wall just didn't get in. Classic jerk, John Wall.
Hashtag Ringer NBA if you want to get involved. Let me ask you guys this. Kev, there is a chance that Jimmy Butler won't be playing in this All-Star game because of this mystery MRI he had on his knee that Tom Thibodeau would neither confirm nor deny. If Jimmy is out, is Paul George the first man in?
It's got to be George. It has to be. I mean, if you're thinking about one of the better, if you want a defensive player, I mean, a guy who can light it up offensively, I think it's George. I mean, look at the other guys, Nikola Jokic, I don't think it's him. Lou Williams, Devin Booker, I don't think it's them either. I don't think there's anybody else really on the list. Chris Paul, I think he's interesting.
I see your point. The 17 versus 15 with Steph, I mean, he won he was the top Western Conference vote getter.
If Melo can get in last year, like, why can't Chris Paul get in?
The Big East problems when I talk to you is just insane.
And that reserve won't get chosen maybe until February.
Yeah,
so
right.
by that point, the games played won't matter.
Yeah, right.
Well, one thing we were talking about before we went on is that if Chris doesn't get in, I think this is the first time it would just be LeBron from the Banana Boaters.
Oh, interesting. So we could be seeing kind of a turning of the page generationally in the NBA in a lot of ways. Let's quickly go over this. Hashtag Ringer NBA if you want to reach out. I just want to break down. So, like, LeBron and Steph, two top vote getters from each conference, they are the captains. They will be picking guys who were voted as starters, but it doesn't matter what conference they're in. So they are picking from that 8-player pool of people who were voted by fans, media, and players. Then the reserves were announced today, and these guys will be picking in a convoluted back and forth, but we will explain that in a second. We've been chewing on this for about a week, trying to figure out exactly what is happening, what should be happening, what they could have done to make this different. Have they taken something that was already pretty superficial and made it too complicated? Are you excited by this new process? Do you like the fact that we're not going to see conference-based teams?
I think the best thing about it is it gives us content like this.
Yes.
But once they actually pick the teams, they look like they would normally. I mean, maybe if you're a big fan, you could tell the difference between the conferences and like the fact that some teams play each other a little bit more than others. But do fans these days really care and like notice who's in which conference?
Just get rid of conferences.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. That's what I was going to ask. Is this we have a question from Karam Oxan on Facebook. Ozcan, who says, why do we still use conferences to select All-Stars at all when this game isn't actually divided by conference anymore? But it is.
It's silly.
It is. We're still talking about the path to get past the Warriors in the Western Conference. Yeah. The reason the Cavs haven't been completely buried 6 feet deep is because the Eastern Conference has yet to prove that they can beat LeBron in the last decade, pretty much. Yeah. Kevin, is this like the first salvo in perhaps straight seeding for the playoffs?
Yeah, I think Adam Silver has talked about this, right? And he hasn't necessarily closed the door on it, right? So I think the possibility is certainly there to do it. We're not quite there yet, but maybe, seeing the success with this, seeing the reaction to this, maybe that's one step towards having no conferences. Because personally, I would much rather see it, with no conferences. I think it's feasible with travel nowadays. I think you can do it.
Yeah.
I think so.
Especially New Orleans is in the Western Conference, and they have a central time zone.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
It's silly.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's get into this draft. So we've asked Kevin and Justin to do a little bit of method drafting. We talked about this last week on the NBA Group Chat podcast. We're going to rerun it back now that we know the actual reserves are. Kevin's going to be drafting from the persona of LeBron James. So when Kevin is drafting these people, we have asked him not to necessarily just pick who do you think is the best guy available, but who would LeBron want to be playing with. And in the chess game of life, who would LeBron maybe like to snub or subtweet based on who he does and doesn't pick? So Kevin is picking as LeBron, and Justin is picking as Steph Curry. He is full of Brita water. He's got all the Kaiser Permanente healthcare he can handle. Kevin is going to draft first. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right? LeBron is drafting first. So LeBron James, O'Connor.
No pressure.
You have the first pick. Who are you taking?
So as LeBron James, I'm thinking about, I want to be an owner and a GM in the future. So I'm thinking about, this is my rep. This is a fantasy draft for me as LeBron.
Okay.
And I'm snubbing Kyrie and going with Kevin Durant, taking Steph's guy.
So we're breaking up the Warriors. We're letting Kyrie know it's not all water under the bridge. So LeBron James picks Kevin Durant.
See, that's fine. It's a typical LeBron move, trying to bring the best player with him. He doesn't want to take the harder path, just like Kevin Durant, mind you.
Light likes to win.
Savage Sam had asked on Twitter, what are the chances that all the Warriors are on the same team? We just found out, like,
Zero.
very slim. And I don't think it would happen in real life anyway. So Justin, Steph Curry, who are you picking first?
This is a tough one. I think the choice is between Giannis and Anthony Davis. And since Steph is going to want to court Anthony Davis in the future, I'm just going to get a head start on that one. Bring him in here. Show him how good my passes are. Show him how good the locker room environment is. Let's go with Anthony Davis.
I think Draymond would have just kicked over a mailbox now, right? Does Draymond not even add to get picked?
If he takes a pay cut.
Okay, so Anthony Davis is the first player selected by Steph Curry. We go back to LeBron James. Who do you want here?
Well, I mean, if I'm LeBron James, I've once said that DeMarcus Cousins is the best big man in basketball, so I'm going with Boogie.
So
who just
two
had a long
Pelicans off the board in the first 3 picks.
Mind you, the Pelicans are 25 and 21 right now.
Yes.
Great job, Del
But
Dem.
because
Great job.
LeBron did tweet last night, chilled Boogie, he was so impressed. Boogie just put up a wilt number last night against in a double overtime game against the Bulls. So you're taking Boogie. So you got Boogie and Durant and LeBron on the same team. All right, Steph.
Oh, this is easy. Give me Giannis.
Okay.
It's an easy one.
Okay.
Put it on the board.
So Brow.
He's also feeling a little jaded right now. He doesn't know what's going on. I just
Yeah,
want to bring him under
I
my
know,
wing.
it's too bad.
My
No
wife will
Jason
cook for
Kidd.
him. It'll be great.
So let's go back to LeBron here. We got LeBron already has Durant and Boogie. Who's his third pick?
James Harden.
James Harden.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Yeah, see, that's what... When I originally thought that each team had to have 2 guards and 3 front court guys specifically, I was going to go with Harden and make you have Kyrie and DeRozan. But now it's a little tough. Okay, so I have 2 big men effectively.
Yeah, Steph Curry has Anthony Davis and Giannis.
Giannis can play the wing now. He can play
Sure,
the
Giannis can
nominal
shoot.
3.
Sure. Absolutely.
Sure, yeah, especially in this environment. Cousins is out. I'm going to go Embiid. Give me Embiid. I'm going to go big down low.
Okay, so you've got Embiid and Anthony Davis holding it up down low. You've got a non-shooting 3 in Giannis.
There's no one that can shoot.
Okay. All right, LeBron, chess move. What's your next one?
DeMar
DeMar DeRozan.
Sorry.
So you've got the Los Angeles connection of
That's
DeRozan
perfect.
and Harden in the backcourt, and then Durant, Boogie, LeBron in the front court. So that leaves one last starter's pick for Steph.
So I get Kyrie, which is perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping to happen because LeBron doesn't want him on his team.
So let's just recap really quickly. Steph Curry, a.k.a. Justin, has himself, Anthony Davis, Giannis, Embiid, and Kyrie. Kyrie going last among the All-Stars, or among the starters. And then LeBron has himself, Durant, Boogie, Harden, DeRozan. Okay.
You can make the case that Kevin has 4 of the top 5 shooters.
I'm going to say Team LeBron seems like a more complete, balanced squad to me.
Interesting.
I'm just saying.
Well, we have more heart, so that's fine.
You guys have more heart. You're going to have to, make sure that,
what you mean,
Our social media presence is better because we have Embiid.
I
We'll
like,
get mad
what you're doing.
retweets.
I think that this is going to be won and lost in the reserves picks. But let's first just go to the to social media and see what people are saying. Boy7177 wants to know which All-Star would handle being picked last, the best or the worst.
That's a good question.
I think Lillard has shown that he is always available to be aggrieved by something.
For sure.
Yeah, so if Lillard were to go last in this reserves draft, I don't think he's going to take
Al
it well.
Horford, boring player,
Al
very
Horford's
agreeable
he's
guy.
going to totally handle it best.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Cat, maybe, just because he's constantly getting dogged on by Jimmy Butler already, and for him to go last might not be the best for his ego.
Okay. All right, let's find out who's going to go last in this mock All-Star selections draft. We start with Steph Curry. So Steph Curry will get the first pick in the reserves draft. Steph.
This is secretly a tough spot to be in, just because Jimmy Butler, as you mentioned, hasn't been playing lately. We don't know if he's going to play.
But you have to assume, here, I'm going to throw a wrinkle here.
Yeah.
They are acting like this isn't going to come out. It's going to come out. Okay, someone's agent is going to talk to somebody. Yeah. So even if Butler is out for this weekend, do you use your pick on Butler just so you let him know we're cool?
Okay.
And so that
Interesting.
Butler doesn't like make it his mission in life to destroy you.
Okay, let's go for it. We're going to go with Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler is the first pick by Steph Curry. Jimmy Butler putting up a classic Dwayne Wade season right now. Okay. LeBron, let's hear it.
You didn't take your splash, bro, so I'm taking him.
Oh, fine.
Klay Thompson.
Have him.
Klay Thompson. What Justin considers a borderline all-star in the first place. So Butler and Klay Thompson, the first reserves, go off the board. Rich Wayne wants to know, is Draymond going to go last? Let's see, Rich. Let's see what Steph's next reserve pick is.
I see what KOC is doing here. He's monopolizing the shooting.
It's not KOC, it's LeBron.
I see what LeBron James is doing. Similar facial hair.
He's uninterrupted.
So in that regard, I'm going to go a little bit off the board. I'm going to go with Beal.
Ooh. Interesting, because you had to make up for Giannis not being able to shoot.
Yeah, basically, which is a typical Wizards move, having to paper over my previous mistakes here.
Okay.
So I need more shooting, so I'm going to go Klay.
Steph has got Beal here to make up for the lack of shooting in the starting lineup. Even though you do have Kyrie, and Embiid definitely thinks he can shoot.
Right.
So you got there.
Perfect.
LeBron?
I'm going with Draymond.
Oh, okay.
Took all the Warriors.
Okay. It's a real weird mind.
There is like an interesting, like, uninterrupted cabal going on here. With
I think it would be an
LeBron.
interesting wrinkle if LeBron did take the Warriors on his team. Left Steph alone.
This is a perfect pick for me because I just recognized, and I don't know why it took me this long, that Durant is on the other team. So obviously we need Russell Westbrook to counterbalance that. Because Russell Westbrook is going to take 50 shots no matter what, and he's going for the jugular.
So far, the one question I want to ask for you guys, you know how every season, every All-Star game, there's a guy who takes it way too seriously and is gunning for the MVP. Is it just going to be Russ again, or do you think there's a new addition?
Could it be like a new guy, like an Oladipo? You know,
we'll find out.
It's usually Russ.
I don't know if Oladipo's going to get enough minutes.
Yeah,
because there's always the guy who's like, you got in here somehow, but you haven't paid your dues. You get like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to recap really quickly, Team Justin, which is Team Steph Curry, Brow, Steph, Giannis, Embiid, Kyrie playing as the starters. He's got Jimmy Butler, who may or may not make it to All-Star Weekend because of this gamey knee. Bradley Beal, Russell Westbrook. Gamey? Is that what we can say that?
Sure.
LeBron has Durant, Boogie, Harden, DeRozan as his starters, as his teammates on the starting lineup. And then Klay and Draymond going straight Warriors. LeBron. Little mind games.
Yeah.
So now we go to LeBron for his third reserve.
I'm going big. Again, Cat.
Okay. Towns.
Oh, get him out of here. He's a loser.
Towns is on a roll.
He's not even an all-star. Get him off my team.
Oh, come on. He's been ever since early December or so, he's just been ridiculous.
It's been an up and down season. He's also been getting roasted every night by Jimmy Butler. Screamed at on the court, made fun of off the court. But you think Cat goes right in there?
I mean, could he have better influences around him? He had KG as a rookie. Now he's got Tibbs and Jimmy Butler.
But he still
and Taj
spends
Gibson
all his time playing video games on Twitch.
He does, until 4 a.m. in the morning. But I used to do that, you know? I mean it's
you didn't have Kevin Garnett screaming at you. I just no expectations.
He's played a lot of Halo 3 with Dylan Jordan. What's up?
All right, Steph.
All right, so I'm thinking because there's a little bit of a break before the actual All-Star game, Kristaps will have had a nap or two, so he won't be sleepy. And so I want him on my team, provide some shooting, provide some rim protection. Also the type of guy who, while he might get distracted mid-game and start talking with people on the sidelines.
Or tired. Yeah. Just straight up exhausted.
Yeah, but I think he'll stick it out.
Okay, so Kristaps is off the board. He goes on Team Steph. Before we get to Kevin's next pick, Peter Bunsana just wants to let you know from YouTube, KOC is straight up dominating this draft.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That guy.
I don't know if I agree with that. Okay, LeBron, what do you think?
I want to take I'm not sure if I want to take a new guy under my wing or, a fellow veteran. I'm going to go with Victor Oladipo. Take a new guy under my wing.
Oladipo off the board. And just let's just say, every pick that goes by up for LeBron where he doesn't pick Love is another obvious fitting out situation.
He might be last on my draft board.
Okay, so Depot is gone. On the board, remaining on the board is Lillard, Lowry, LaMarcus Aldridge, John Wall, Al Horford.
I love how we've left a lot of the most boring players on the board still, which shows you that nobody wants that on their all-star team.
Yeah.
As much as I caped for Al Horford last week. I'm going to go with... Let's go with Lowry here.
Okay.
I like Lowry.
Provide a little bit of defense if that's actually happening in this all-star game. Provide some shooting.
Kyle Lowry really dropped in my book by getting in a fight with Ben Simmons and then went all the way back up by wearing an Eagles hat on Monday to practice. So.
Right.
All good with him. Okay, Lowry, and now it's Team LeBron. Who do you got here?
Even though I'm LeBron, just for the Sixers fans, taking Al Horford. Al Horford need a reliable defender off my bench.
Yeah. I love those dribble handoffs. These are just going to be great.
Great passing.
Really solid defense in the All-Star
really
game.
Solid,
just like make sure everybody knows where they're supposed to be.
Go beyond the box score with that.
Okay, this is actually hilarious because aside from LaMarcus, who is having a great season, is just quietly putting up like 23 and 10 every night and doing exactly what Pop needs him to do to keep this Spurs team ticking. Not getting a ton of respect here, but the guys who are left, Lillard, Love, and Wall, are some of the more perennially, whether it's a perception of being, their own self-perception of being disrespected, or they literally, in Love's case, are being disrespected.
Sure.
It's weird how the law of the jungle has left these guys here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let me just specify, in the actual picks, apparently the way they're going to do this is that they'll pick one more guy. Then Steph gets 2 picks in a row, and LeBron wraps it up. So this is LeBron's pick, am I right? Yeah, this is LeBron's pick, so go ahead.
Really? So
Wait, am I right? Did I get that right? It's LeBron and then 2 steps and then LeBron.
That's an interesting little wrinkle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am surprised. I don't think in real life this is going to happen. John Wall falling this far seems unusual.
Can I just say one thing to preface you, LeBron James?
Sure.
If you don't take Love now, you very well may have to pick him last.
That's okay. I'm okay with that if I'm LeBron. I might want him traded.
All right, go ahead, LeBron.
So I'm taking John Wall.
John Wall for LeBron. Okay.
Maybe if I'm LeBron, this is my way of pushing him out the door a little bit.
Now? Or no, I don't even know what his agent is.
Pretty sure it's
Yeah,
clutch.
he's clutch now.
Yeah, it's clutch, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think LeBron would take him earlier.
Okay, so Steph, you get 2 picks in a row now.
So
Lillard, Love, and LaMarcus left.
my problem is I'm a little light on big men, even though going with the starters pretty much primarily with big men. So I bet you they can I can weave those guys together.
You can stagger minutes.
Who's my coach anyway? Do we know who the coaches are?
Western Conference coach, is it not Kerr?
It's probably Kerr. And he's
It's
great
Kerr.
with making sure that everyone gets minutes. Let's go with him. So I can't pass up the just leaving Love for LeBron here. So I'm going to go with Lillard and LaMarcus.
My God, this is amazing. So Lillard and LaMarcus go to Team Steph, which leaves Team LeBron with Kevin Love going Mr. Irrelevant.
Well, if you're taking Kevin Love, he's going to be sick for the All-Star game, so I get Paul George.
If that's what you're counting on, if LeBron is going to start dosing Kevin Love's power shake in the morning. All right, let's just recap. So Team Steph Curry has obviously Steph Curry starting at point guard, Anthony Davis, Giannis, Embiid, and Kyrie in the starting lineup. Team LeBron has obviously LeBron James starting with Durant, Boogie, Harden, and DeRozan. The reserves. Team Steph has Jimmy Butler, who may or may not make it to the All-Star game, Bradley Beal, Russell Westbrook, Kristaps, Kyle Lowry, Damian Lillard, and LaMarcus Aldridge. Team LeBron has Clay, Draymond, Karl Anthony Towns, Victor Oladipo, Al Horford, John Wall, and Kevin Love. From a talent level alone, I think you got smoked.
Really?
Yeah, man. I think you got busted.
What?
Yeah, because you have... Okay,
Draymond can't shoot. Cat shouldn't be an all-star. I don't even know who Victor Oladipo is, even though I just said he should be a starter.
I don't know. I think that...
What?
I think...
Heresy, I say.
I think LeBron was...
This is rigged.
LeBron was thinking long-term with having big guys who could defend the perimeter and shoot threes.
Are you talking about yourself in the third person?
I don't know.
asked him to speak-
LeBron put up an Instagram post congratulating himself today.
Sure.
So,
do you guys think that this is how this will actually go?
I think Wall will go earlier. I think Lillard will also go earlier in the actual draft.
Interesting. So you think LeBron and Steph have a higher level of respect?
Yeah, I mean, they just seem like the type of guys that I think players probably think more highly of them than kind of we do. Even though we're thinking through the lens of players right now.
I would also say that
think they'll go
because
earlier.
of Steph seems to be a little bit more independent-minded this year. You know, like last year when they won the finals, he didn't go to Vegas with the team. He's sort of speaking his mind a little bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if he gave himself a little bit of a rule where he's like, I'm not picking Warriors.
Sure.
I think it could happen.
I do wonder.
Now that I'm looking at this too, also, I do think you're pretty even. Your bench is really good.
Thanks, buddy.
It would be a fun wrinkle, if Steph said, I'm not picking any Warriors.
And then
right?
with LeBron counter by being, well, I'm not going to pick, I don't know who LeBron would have to. I would say you're not going to pick any Cavs, but it's just he'd be like, all right, guys, I'm not going to pick Kevin Love. You twist my arm. I won't do it.
It's really interesting if LeBron does end up picking Durant, who ends up picking Westbrook. Because obviously Steph, they were laughing at him on the bench that one game in Oklahoma City. And then I wonder if LeBron wants to keep the chemistry going.
Westbrook's another guy that would probably go higher. Like we had him as the third reserve that you selected. He might be like the first one taken on either team.
So to pull you guys out of character for the last few minutes here, we have a couple questions. Hashtag RingerNBA if you want to jump in here and have any comments on the teams or just shoot us some questions. Joe Urbanek asks on Facebook, which All-Stars do you think will have their final All-Star appearance this year?
That's a tough one.
I think Al Horford.
Yeah, Al Horford, I think so. As those younger bigs in the East get older, more experience, and younger forwards as well. I think probably Al Horford. I would say he's the last
That's
one.
like Miles Turner's spot.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like
similar thing, LaMarcus. I mean, Kawhi is probably going to get back in the mix, and that alone is going to push him down the board.
Marcus Ivarsson asks on Facebook, watching from Sweden, what's up? Do you think the new format will make anyone actually play defense? Would be fun after the S show we had last year. One thing to note is I believe, and I can get fact checked here, that these guys are playing for charity. So there is a different motivating factor here. There is like a little bit like maybe at the end of the day that like when they turn it on in those last 9 minutes, you never know what could happen, right? And I think you've got some decent defenders here. You've got guys like Horford and Butler and Oladipo who are good two-way players. And there's also guys like Oladipo who are like, I don't want to get punked in my first All-Star game.
I think that's possible for sure. I mean, like when preparing for this, me and Justin were kind of like talking trash, like I'm playing to win, right? And if we're feeling that way, unless we're just basketball nerds, maybe the players are going to feel that way too. Because when you're picking teams, doesn't that feel more like just playing pickup?
Yeah.
At the gym. I feel like that's really what drives competition. So hopefully it does work.
Justin, we are gonna come back a little bit later tonight after Spurs Cavs, which I think when we looked at the schedule maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, everybody was cruising along and Kawhi Leonard was back and the Cavs were figuring it out. We were like, that could be a good game of two teams that are not the Warriors. It's an interesting game. The Spurs uncharacteristically dealing with some controversy today of what may be like a kind of nothing burger story about Kawhi Leonard's possible lack of satisfaction with the medical treatment he's getting or how his injury has been handled by the Spurs. And there's been a lot of like Jalen was talking today on ESPN about he's not into the Spurs right now. And then obviously with the Cavs, this emotional team meeting that seemed to be focused entirely on Kevin Love, but then also seemed to be made okay by Kevin Love being like, sorry guys, I was sick. What are your expectations for tonight? Do you have a prediction for tonight? What's the longest Pop will talk during a between quarters interview?
I think if the Cavs don't win this one, I think they're in trouble a little bit. Like you were saying, the Spurs can beat anybody with anybody on the roster, even if they don't have Kawhi, even LaMarcus just doesn't happen to play. They'll be fine. But I do worry that if the Cavs don't start putting together some wins here, that's just going to snowball, especially with the way Love has pretty much had to go in front of the media and like pretend everything is fine.
And the thing with the Cavs is if they come out and play with a lot of effort tonight, if they're intense, that's kind of a good sign that that meeting was effective. But if they come out sluggish like they have been, like on Saturday night in Oklahoma City, if they're not trying on defense,
my prediction is that they're going to get worked. Because I think that not only do the Spurs just keep it about their business, but also like these Cavs guys, they can have all the team meetings they want, but we're seeing reports that this George Hill trade is on the 1 yard line. Like, I think half these Cavs don't know if they're going to be on the team in the next 2 weeks.
And that's a factor as well. Anytime, like, players in the locker room, it can affect others as well. If they think they might be traded, if they think there's a chance they're traded, that a friend could leave, that can be uninspiring.
Either way, it's going to be fascinating. Haley's going to be out here with us. We'll be on after the Spurs-Cavs game right here. Hashtag RingerNBA. If you have questions, comments, it should be a really, really interesting game. We're excited to share it with you guys. We'll be back in a little bit.
Basketball is very good. Basketball is very good. Basketball is very good.